Thank you, Hans Jakob. You asked us to look into the anti-Semitism about the network of Samidoun and Massar Badil. So we did a little exercise just to start to see which of those key figures, you know, there are a few ones that come across in all these groups. It's like Charlotte Cates, Khaled Barakat, Mohamed Khatib, a little bit maybe less known Rima Najjar Merriman. These are key figures who create all these organizations. So we have found that Khaled Barakat has made some really classical anti-Semitic statements, like that they blame the Jews collectively for what's happening in the territories in Palestine and in Israel. They're implying that Jewish responsibility for border conflicts worldwide. This is really echoing classic anti-Semitic tropes for a collective Jewish culpability. Now, we see that Charlotte Cates, for example, after October 7th, she has said that what happened was heroic and brave, and she led chants of long live October 7th, glorifying violence against Jews and Israelis, which in fact led to her arrest in Vancouver for hate speech. Mohamed Khatib in Belgium has been now labeled as an extremist hate preacher because of the language he uses on the streets in Brussels when he was, before October the 7th, even calling out a lot of that the two-state solution is a criminal solution, for example. Now, what we have to understand is that after 7th of October, everything has shifted, because what was in the past, maybe for some people not clearly that anti-Zionism was anti-Semitism, now it has become very clear. What has happened after 7th of October with the rise of, for example, in Belgium, a rise of more than 1,000% of anti-Semitic acts, we see that there is a shift. And what is this shift? Dr. Karen Nelson, an American professor, has explained us very clearly that, one, on campus encampments that had to take place in 2024, the students and the professionals, of course, who were there, no longer call for a two-state solution, but now they call for the end of the Jewish state. As we know, the very famous phrase, from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. Two, all of Palestine is now considered as occupied, which means that all the land of Israel is occupied Palestine. Three, 1967 is no longer seen as the problem, but rather 1948, which is, in fact, the declaration of the statehood of Israel. So what does it mean? It is delegitimizing totally the fact that Israel exists. Four, Israel is the source of all global evil. Five, all Jews are complicit in this evil. Six, and that's the conclusion of these first 2 points, that the latest iteration of anti-Semitism is anti-Zionism. And seven, to conclude, that anti-Zionist anti-Semitism is racist because it's not rooted in the critique of a government or a policy or a principle, but it's pure hate. And for the people who in the past could not see this, that this, what we have called the 3Ds, the demonization, the delegitimization, and the double standards towards Israel is anti-Semitism, now for everyone it is clear with what happened on the campuses. So we have been looking also to the organizations that are linked with Samidoun and Massar Badil, and there are plenty of them. So we have now like 10 or 11 other organizations. I will just name them and here and there explain why there is a link, because it's too much, and I do not want to bother everyone with all the details. But we know that one, Samidoun has been designated as a terrorist entity in October 2024. Masar Badir not, although it's the same people, the same aims, the same objective, but Masar Badir is still not designated. We have next to this Adamir, which is another organization. I will explain you a little bit more. It's also, in Arabic, it means the Conscience for the Prisoner Support and Human Rights Association. And it's an NGO established in 1992 in Ramallah. And it's dedicated itself to the defense of Palestinian political prisoners' rights. Now, Adamir has been designated especially by the global, like a global terrorist by the US Treasury in June 2025, this year. And then I will speak also about Palestine Action Organization, and they have been proscribed by the UK as a terrorist organization in July 2025. Now, the network is really much bigger than that. We have an organization that is called NIDAL, and they are linked by a person who was before the head of Samidoun Seattle. His name is Bissam Barghouti, and he is also now the key person of NIDAL. They have issued statements in solidarity with Samidoun, with Palestinian Action, with Adamir. So you see, all these people, they go around in other organizations and they create a huge network. I must say, it's almost like a web. And they have been doing this for more than 20 years. So when we say that it's surprising what happened on the campuses after October 7th, I must say, I do not agree that it is a surprise, because it's been building up by a drip technique with small organizations here and there, and there are like now popping up like a huge web. I can cite you, for example, also Super UW. It's a registered student organization at University of Washington, and they have been created in 2022, so before October 7, and they advocate for Palestinian equality, right of return, and ending the US complicity in Israel's reaction. This group has been suspended now because they identified themselves as part of the student intifada. Now, all the wording of global intifada, of other call to action in violence are now getting more and more clear, but they have been doing this for many years. So I have another organization that I could name. It's Tariq El Tahrir, Youth and Student Network. And they have been launched in April 2024 under Masar Badil. And they also, of course, emphasize that free Palestine from the river to the sea. And they are also asking for armed resistance. They are anti-imperialist, and they are for a decolonization. All these groups are using a language that is very violent. I don't know if I have a few more minutes, but one thing I have to say is that I will just now name them. So IMPAC will issue a report with all these organizations.
You don't have to rush, Patricia. We are very much within the time limit. So please take your time. Don't get nervous.
Okay. So there is another organization, Al-Ahrar Toronto. This is a grassroots activist group, and it was launched in August 2025. and it emphasizes the link with Palestinian resistance to global anti-colonial movements, and they have been flagged up to have ties with the PFLP, just like Samidoun. By the way, Samidoun has announced their launching event. So you see all these networks, they're all interlaced, if I can say like this. And they have an overlap with the members who are activists in Samidoun and in this group. And of course, Massa Badil amplified the messages on social media. Now, there is another organization, and this was a big surprise for me. It's the National Lawyers Guild. This is the oldest and largest progressive bar association in the US, founded in 1937 as a racially integrated alternative to the conservative American Bar Association. Now, this association has an operational connection with Samidoun. By whom? Through Charlotte Cates. Charlotte Cates has served as a key organizer for the Palestinian department of the National Lawyers Guild. So she has done joint sponsorship events and sponsor events with tribunals. She has, the NLG has defended the Samidoun figures like Rasmia Odeh, who was a former PFLP member, in resolutions and demanding they drop the charges already in 2013. In 2022, the NLG denounced the denial of entry to Cates and Khaled Barakat, both founders of Massa Badil and Samidoun, by the Dutch authority. So you see, they are very smart because since many, many years, they're building up in all kinds of different sectors, and therefore they're very strong. The seventh organization I wanted to mention is the US Campaign for the Academic and Cultural Boycott of Israel. It's also a grassroots campaign, a grassroots organization, and they're part of the global BDS movement. But they have also connections with Samidoun and also shared leadership through Charlotte Cates, again her. Then we can speak about the Alliance for Global Justice. This is a left-wing nonprofit founded in 1989, and they are based in Tucson, Arizona. And they call for a unified grassroots movement against capitalism, imperialism, and global inequities. And it acts as a fiscal sponsor for over 150 projects worldwide, providing tax-exempt status, financial management, and administrative support to groups without their own nonprofit credentials. And this is really interesting because they are giving money to Charlotte Cates because she is also embedded in that organization. So you see, everything is linked, everything. Then I spoke already about Palestine Action. This organization is British, pro-Palestinian, and they have been founded in July 2020 by activists Huda Amori and Richard Barnard, with the goal of ending global participation in Israel's genocidal apartheid regime by disrupting the arms trade and particularly targeting Israeli weapons manufacturers like Elbit Systems and UK facilities supporting it. The UK Home Office described Palestine Action as part of the PFLP/Samidoun ecosystem due to their alignment, and they accuse them of incitement to hate and their direct actions. So therefore, they have been proscribed as a terrorist organization by the UK in July 2025. Voila, that's the main organizations I wanted to talk to you about. And I will now explain you why we think that to ban organization or to put them on a terror list is not enough. We have to tackle the persons who are the leading persons, but also maybe the members that you can find in all these different organizations. We have to ban them as well. And I don't know, because I'm not a lawyer, if to ban is even enough. But of course, that's the minimum that we could ask, because otherwise we see that all other organizations can pop up from one day to another. If Samidoun is banned, then we have all the other organizations. And I would finish by saying that, in fact, we see that these Palestinian organizations, of course, they are against Israel and the state of Israel, and the fact that Israel even exists as such. But we do not have to be naive, because Israel is a symbol for the Western world in the Middle East. And if they tackle Israel afterwards, they will, and the Jews here in Europe and everywhere else, they will tackle also other issues. That's why they call for global intifada, because we know that global intifada is terrorist actions, okay? So we have now to stand up and be really, I think our politicians and policymakers, we have to understand, they have to understand that to prescribe terrorist activities is important, not only for Israel, but for our democracies and our way of living of the West. Because otherwise, if we do not tackle the ideology, we will always be behind them and be, looking for banning another organization. I think we have to go to the root of it, which is the ideology. And then I think we can hopefully downplay the anti-Semitism that is worldwide, because anti-Semitism, as you said earlier, Alexander, I think it's the cement for all these organizations who have nothing in common besides anti-Semitism. I thank you for your attention.